Morning. Yeah, today's class will be to continue our adjustment on final accounting. And today we'll be talking on provisions. We've discussed accruals, we've discussed prepayment, and I've given you a note, send your note to you on provisions. I want to explain the computations that were there on the example so you understand it. So we look at what provision is briefly. Provision in a business is simply an amount of money set aside to cater for certain losses that cannot be avoided. And these losses come about in different reasons. One, due to discount allowed to customers when making sales. Why do you let customers buy with discount or on discount? So that they can be motivated to pay on time. And when these customers can't pay on time, it will be a problem for you. You will now start suffering another problem that we call bad debt. So you make them pay cash by allowing them to buy on discount. So it's a loss because you will not acquire or derive the full amount they are supposed to pay. Then secondly, provisions also is made for bad debt. And bad debt is when you sell on credit and you cannot recover this money, some of it or all of it. You may acquire part of the cash and you may not even be able to acquire all of the cash for many reasons. Maybe that the customer is dead, or the customer is bankrupt, or the customer has relocated or something. And when this bad debt occur, you can't close your account at the end of the year without providing for that loss. So in this case, you must make provisions to cover for those things. And this is what we want to show. So the example that I gave you in your note was this. I'll just start from the numbers. That a company had this record, and this record are their bad debt for the record and the provisions made for the bad debt. And so in 1991, the company had a bad debt of 10,700, and they could not recover 700. They recovered 10,000, and they had provisions made for 500 naira. 500 naira is 5% of 10,000. So the rule of the company was they make 5% provision for each recoverable debt. So you go to 1992, you have the same thing. You go to 1993, you have the same thing. We are expected to prepare the necessary ledger accounts and extract the balance sheet at the end of the year. So first of all, we will begin with identifying the bad debt and posting them to the necessary ledger account before we think of the provisions that were made for the bad debt and extracting the balance sheet. So quickly, let's see. We have the first account, the bad debt account. In the bad debt account, we discovered that the bad debt for 1991 was 700. This is its sundry debtors, bad that could not be recovered. Then we have another one for 1992, 1,260. Another for 1993, 1,120. And at this other credit side, we are seeing that we posted all the bad debts to the profit and loss account, the P&L account, both 1991, 1992, and the 1993 bad debts that could not be recovered. We posted them to what? To the P&L account. So this is how we prepare the bad debt account. You record the sundry debtors for that year and you post them to the P&L account. Then the next account will be the provisions for bad debt account. So this is provisions for bad and doubtful debt account. In this provisions account, we post to the credit side as well. So first of all, we are going to record post the 500 naira bad debt to the P&L account, and then on 1st of January 1992 we still have 500, because in 1991 our bad debt we couldn't recover was 500. So in the 1st of January 1992, after 1991, will be 500 in the account of the bad debt. By the end of the 1992, we discovered that we have another bad debt that was posted to P&L account, which is 900. Can you see that? So at the end of the day, we'll have a combination of both the 500 and the 900, which is 1,400 naira. So on the other side, let's follow what we are doing. We had bad balance brought down at the end of that year, 500, and before the end of the next year, we are having 1,400 in 1992. Then we now come down to 1993 January. In 1993 January, we have the account brought forward. So we have a balance brought down of what? 1,400. But at the end of 1993, we have a new account. Why? Because 800 have been added as the provisions for what? The provisions for bad debt. So in the first year, we have provisions for bad debt 500. At the beginning of the second year, we still have 500. At the end of the next year, we have another 900 as provisions. We add it, we have 1,400. At the beginning of 1993, we have the 1,400. At the end of 1992, we have another bad debt, which is 800. If we add it, we are going to have 2,200. Then, at the beginning of 1994, we will now have 1,200. Except there's another bad debt for 1994. This will be the only bad debt for that year. So that is how we prepare the provisions for bad and doubtful debt. So as you are posting them to the P&L account and you are having a new balance, that is how it is happening here. The balance for December 1991 was 500. You now add it with the balance for December 1992. You now have a new account. You bring it forward to 1993. You have another balance for 1993. You have a new account you post it to. So whatever you post to the credit side, which combines both the first year and the second year provisions, must be brought down to the credit side to show a corresponding entry. If you look at your work and watch the video properly or carefully, you will understand what I'm saying. Then the next account, or the last account before the extracting of the balance sheet, we have the profit and loss account. The profit and loss account is where we deal with both the bad debt and the provisions for bad debt, because the provisions for bad debt is money that has been set aside for losses, and the bad debt itself is what? Also a loss. So we add both of them. So in the P&L account, we have here 1991 balance brought down. Can you see that? Let me look through, because we have bad debt rather. The bad debt for 1991, we have 700. Then we have provisions for 1991, which is 500. If you add the 500 provisions plus the bad debt, we have 1,200. In 1992, we have bad debt 1,260. We have provisions for it 900. If you add 1,260 plus 900, we have 2,160 naira. And then in 1992, we have bad debt of 1,120, and we have provisions for that year 800. If you add the provisions for that year and the bad debt for that year, we are going to have 1,200 and 1,920 naira. And so the whole entries of both the bad debt and the provisions of bad debt summarize what is posted to the profit and loss account. Then we now have the balance sheet extract. It's very easy. Now I hope you know that if it was a trading profit and loss account, I decided to have a gross profit. So don't be confused that we don't have the other entry here. We will have a gross profit, and then other expenses will be charged, and we will have our net profit to finish the account. But now we are going to extract the balance sheet. In the balance sheet, all these debtors fall under current assets. So the fixed asset, we are not dealing with it. We are dealing with the current asset here now. So we have, according to our chart there, in 1991, we have here 10,000 naira for debtors. In 1992, we have here 18,000 naira. and in 1993 we have here 16,000 naira. And the bad debt that was the provisions for bad debt, less provision, because these provisions will be taken away from the debt that was recovered. Why? Because we have already covered up for the bad debt that couldn't be gotten from the reserve that we made. So we are going to less it to know the actual amount that was even gotten. We are not only going to let the bad debt go, we are taking away the provisions from the amount we realized. And so first we have 500 from 10,000, the balance will be 9,500. We have 900 from 18,000, the balance will be 17,100. And then we have 800 from 16,000, the balance will be 12,200. 15,200. So by the time you take away the provisions from the actual amount that was gotten or that was able to be recovered from the debtors, you have the real amount that you made that year in selling those goods. So that is how we work provisions. I believe when you study it, you get it better. See you next class.